Honkai Star Rail has a lot of characters, or maybe it's just I keep pulling for all of these characters, so I have a lot of characters. As the roster keeps on growing, it gets harder and harder for you as a player to keep summoning all of these units. I do believe we're in a safe point in the game's lifespan where there are now so many different playstyles for you to choose from, and I think it's worth talking now that we as players should be a lot pickier when it comes to characters we are summoning. My name is Kilios, and I believe the game is changing for the better, but I think with all the new modes on the way, and even the modes we have now, it's time to invest into your account and summon for characters that will help your teams in multiple ways. Now, let me explain. A lot of players won't actively think about this, or won't even consider what they're doing with their accounts. The mentality of pulling for what you like is good, and I recommend it to everyone. I also believe that this can put you into some awkward scenarios. Synergies is the master plan for Star Rail, and characters are built with other characters in mind. Your team consists of 4 slots, all of which can be organized in any sort of way that you would prefer. Damage dealers, buffers, debuffers, sustainers, it's your playground, try and make the most out of it. Proper investment can go a long way when it comes to a turn-based RPG. Planning your builds, finding the right setups for you, and even identifying characters you may like are all important. We also need to consider taking things a step further than that. What do these characters do? Who will they work with? These discussions usually come with good reasons behind it. The content in Honkai Star Rail is getting harder and harder. As players, we have to learn and also get better alongside the game. This shows a sense of progression, as well as seeing the fruits of your labor come to light. Honkai Star Rail as a game does these kinds of things to keep you involved, and always keeps you planning and ready for the next piece of content to come. That being said, compared to when the game first launched to where we are now, the goalpost is always being shifted to something new. And with something new on the way, you also need to start preparing for those new things as well. Memory of Chaos was the endgame mode, and our focus for a very long time. But with this content for a while, it had benefits for certain playstyles more than others. Hypercarry compositions were all the rise in the hype for a lot of the beginning parts of the game. Buffing up one main damage dealer to be able to defeat the enemies as fast as possible was the best way of handling things, as well as allow for you to maximize the value you get out of your resources. The way they counteracted some of this difficulty was by providing an additional effect for each Memory of Chaos cycle to further benefit the players for pulling for the newest units available. This could allow users to be able to get through it even if they don't have the newest units available, and to keep allowing players to be able to compete with what they have and not have to pull for every unit. While the newest units would benefit the most from the effects to also show off their capabilities, it meant older units could still take advantage of the effects as well. Memory of Chaos as a mode offered the most benefit to the destruction path, and with the units like Jingliu, Ambassador Lunay, and Blade being released one patch after another, this being the sole game mode to show off your damage dealer's potential, blast damage was doing incredibly well. Hunt path units were still doing reasonably well. Seela is in her own caliber of her own. She's also a special unit because of her resurgence procs, basically making her more of an AoE character than the single target character. Dr. Ratio does fine now with how the MOC stages are formed because there's more focuses on elite enemies, so having mass single target damage has began to start doing well, but follow-up attack units are a bit more special and is a topic I'd love to talk about in another video. But this left erudition units in a really weird state, where lots of players didn't want to pull or use erudition units because they were just worse destruction units. They did not do as much damage in comparison. This comes into our next section talking about the rise of erudition units with the release of Pure Fiction. Now let's talk about the rise in erudition units and the shift to the way we think of the game. Pure Fiction releases with a new playstyle of content. You fight waves of enemies to gain score, with each side having a total of 40,000 points to tally. You need to earn 60,000 points in total to get full credit. You'll have 5 turns to go through in order to score as much points as possible while tackling 5 enemies on the screen at once. Thus, this begins to show the favor towards these erudition units who with AoE ultimates and AoE skills. The great thing about Pure Fiction is while it was built for erudition, you can still get through it with other compositions as well. Nihility units managed to do great. Damage over time teams, often you have a lot of AoE and blast options, and dots deal pretty great damage against the small enemies, making waves go through just as quick. For newer players, it may be a bit tough for you to have to deal with AoE scenarios, but luckily we're given Herta for free, who does a killer job in Pure Fiction. But now comes the benefit of having the right buffers. Compared to your hypercarry compositions, where you want to try and focus on one unit specifically, in Pure Fiction, it does help to have multiple sources of damage at a time from your characters, thus leading you to situations where you'll want a buffer that just passively helps you the entire time, rather than debuffs on the enemies. This also leads to you playing a lot more aggressively to deal as much damage as possible, so you may have to opt out of safety with your sustainers. This brings up something that crosses my mind. Memory of Chaos benefits destruction units. Pure Fiction benefits erudition units. Then, what about the hunt units? It's been a while since it's been mentioned, but I'd like to bring your attention once again to the newest game mode coming in 2.3, and that's Apocalyptic Shadow. We don't know much about the mode right now, all we were really told is that it's a new endgame mode, where they hope us as players can build around new strategies to play. The 3 damage dealer types in the game are the Hunt, Destruction, and Erudition. This is what is explicitly said in the game. Within each of these roles, they have their specializations. Destruction deals outstanding amounts of damage and possesses great survivability, suitable for various combat scenarios, which is great for Memory of Chaos. Erudition deals remarkable amounts of multi-target damage, the main damage dealer against groups of enemies, which we've talked about their benefits in Pure Fiction. This leaves the Hunt, which focuses on single target damage, dealing extraordinary amounts of damage while being the main damage dealer against elite enemies. There's no mode for Hunt characters to really thrive on. Imagine a world where you'll be able to use your Hunt characters to focus down a big boss. They could even try to make use of the Echo of War bosses for these modes, since the main focus is just one enemy. We'll definitely get a lot of information regarding this mode in the future, but I wanted you all to consider this with a grain of salt. We're entering new waves of content for the game right in front of our eyes, and the best time to prepare is now. With all these modes releasing, diversifying your roster has begun to feel a lot more important now than ever. I bring this up all for a few reasons. I think it's good to be able to prepare for something that is coming. Honkai Star Rail has done a great job of accessibility, especially with the 6 weeks lasting time for each endgame mode. This means that every patch potentially will be going through 1 Memory of Chaos, 1 Pure Fiction, and now 1 Apocalyptic Shadow. With each damage dealing role now having their own flavor of endgame mode, this leads us to situations of needing even more unit variety for these game modes. While some units are allowed to double or triple dip, Honkai Star Rail has begun to evolve to allow for units to become a lot more hyper-specific in what they can do, and what they can be used for, while also trying to evolve playstyles bit by bit. Similarly to how Argenti released in the patch after they released Pure Fiction, there's a good chance of, with Boot Hill on the way, he may be a major selling point for Apocalyptic Shadow. There's never something that is too good to be true in these games. They slowly but surely drop you signs of what's coming next and are starting to prepare us as players for the next cycle of the game's life. After going over all of these situations, now it's time to take into consideration what you do have access to on your account. While most players may not clear all of the endgame modes to their fullest, every 2 weeks we gain access to a total of 720 gems per endgame cycle. Think about the characters you have available to you. Understand the situations that these characters will be able to help you out the most. Reiterating what I said at the beginning, where you can always just pull for the characters you want and like to make it work. You'll also be able to do that more reliably if you can guarantee these Stellar Jades as well. The requirement to get the full rewards are pretty generous, so while it may be tough now, you've got 6 weeks to try and get them and build your characters for said content. We can always take a look at various team compositions and explain their positives and negatives, but that sounds like a topic for another video. And that's all I've got for this video. Thanks for watching. Would appreciate it if you could take a chance to subscribe. We took a small break, but we're back in full action. I've got a new series that I want to do, which is updating you on all the different types of team archetypes in the game, starting with follow-up attacks. Leave a comment down below if there's any specific team type you'd like for me to go over. It's great to be back. I'll see you all again soon. Till next time, peace.